Hello everyone, welcome to my English class once again. Now guys, today in this video I'm going to explain a very interesting story, The Happy Prince, written by Oscar Wilde. So before starting this story, let's know something about the author. Oscar Wilde was born in 1854. He was a famous Irish writer and he became famous in the late 19th century as a playwright. The importance of being earnest is his most successful play, and one of his famous work is the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, which has been made into a film a number of times. Guys, this story, The Happy Prince, it is a tale with multiple lessons. From one side, it is the critic of the society that can be cruel and heartless, and on the other side, it is about the compassion towards human troubles. In this story, Oscar Wilde tried to state in a simple way the virtues and flaws of a person in all of his fairy tales. And he tried to criticize the society, which is insensible. So let's commence this story, The Happy Prince. Once in a town there lived a prince. He was called the Happy Prince. He was called so because he had been happy all his life. He didn't know about human sufferings. His life was full of joys. After his death, his statue was erected on a tall pedestal in the middle of the town. The statue was covered with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had two bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. Since he was placed high above the city on a tall column, the prince was able to witness all the sorrows and sufferings which the common people faced in their daily life. This sight saddened the prince, and being helpless, he would weep to see the plight of his people. One day, a swallow bird was flying through the city on its way to Egypt to meet his friends. On the way, it took shelter for the night at the feet of the statue of the Happy Prince. The bird realized that the statue was weeping, and upon inquiry, the bird realized the plight of the prince. The helpless prince requested the bird to help it by becoming its messenger. The bird took pity on the prince and became its messenger, and the bird agreed to remove the fine gold and jewels from his statue to distribute them along the poor and the needy. He started with the plucking the ruby from the prince's sword and giving it to the seamstress who had no money to feed her ailing child. Then he plucked a sapphire from one of the eyes of the statue and gave it to the playwright who has too poor to make fire in the winter to continue his writing. One day, the prince saw a match girl who was being beaten by her father for letting her matches fall in the gutter. The prince's heart filled with pity for the girl. He immediately commanded the swallow to pluck out his other eyes and help the girl. First, the swallow refused to do so. Then, on being insisted, he plucked out the prince's other eye and gave it to the girl. Now the bird decided not to leave the company of the prince who had gone blind now. Although the prince was not able to see the sufferings now, but he knew that it was there. So he instructed the bird to take off the gold leaves and gave it to the poor. The bird followed his words till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. Then the snow came, and the poor little swallow grew older and colder. He grew weak and died. Just at that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. It was in fact the leaden heart that had snapped right in two at the loss of the sweet and kind swallow. The statue was no more beautiful and useful, so the town councillors and the mayor pulled it down. Then they melted it in a furnace, but the broken heart did not melt. So they threw it on a dust heap where the dead swallow was lying. When the god asked one of his angels to bring the most precious things in the city, the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird. So guys, what you see in this story, the message of the story here is by the Oscar is that the worst aspects of modern society can be overcome by love and charity, which have the unique ability to untie men and make them whole. So this is the summary of the story, guys, and I hope that it is clear to you all.